Hi Taurus, and welcome to your monthly Taroscope. This is for the period of Pisces from February 19th to March the 20th. So before I start, I really have to tell you that I'm really keeping this real, and I actually really believe in this because I did live with tarot cards for like almost 5 years, daily drawing the card, knowing what they bring. And of course, you can say they were just my experiences, but I have seen that in the other people' lives. So sometimes I see bad cards, sometimes I see good cards, and I have to be honest with you that I do not try to present a rosy picture to anyone because I wouldn't want that to happen to me. I prefer to be forewarned and that I arm myself with information. If it's bad, then somebody just gave me rosy things, sweet talking, everything will happen, and then maybe just to feel disillusioned in the end. So all this big basically introduction just to tell you that it was a really interesting kind of thing that came out here. It's obviously a theme. And I know that you had some really great times recently, Taurus. So today, the cards, I'm not going to lie to you, didn't come out great. So nothing disastrous for sure. So do not fret. You are just a pattern as everybody else is going through sort of like improvements. It looks like everybody is not operating in their element. You are earth sign, and I'm seeing here lots of water energy, which kind of is nourishing. You can kind of handle emotions, and you are going to be dealing with lots of cleaning the house. So, long story short, I'm not one of those readers who would reshuffle the cards and just set up the pretty cards. I really shuffle these cards with keeping Taurus in mind and keeping the date February 19th to March the 20th. Even though if you're listening this to any other time, this is probably the right time for you because somehow this is how the energy works. You kind of like meet the energy when it's time for it. So let me just give you what I'm doing this month. I am doing several things. We are going to try 4 different card divinations. We are going to start with tarot. We are going to go with the gypsy spread. We are going to go to Lenormand. And I'm also using Love Oracle. So let's start with Love Oracle. It says calling in your soulmate. Your prayers, affirmations, and visualizations help bring you together. I think this is going to be key reading because to really get the soulmate is not just us screaming, come to me, come to me, come to me, because we also have to work on parts of ourselves that are maybe less savory. So let's go right into the reading. This is the base this month. You do have Earth King reversed. This would be like a really your sign. It would be one of those kings who is like really earthy, who enjoys good food, I guess sex, friends, kind of like luxury, things that life can simply provide. This way, it's frivolous. Somebody who is showing off with money, somebody who is basically using sex, use them and dump them kind of a thing. Somebody who is too much into kind of like physical aspects, kind of often just like looking at things superficially. And also kind of a feeling that's the way it is, because now this is 6 of fire, and you're seeing the kitty clearly asking for win, so everybody else has to bring their kind of like gift to the king, right? So now we have like 2 basically king-like structures. And you do know that even if you become a king, then work really starts because you have to defend your kingdom. And I also going to show you that right underneath the surface, what is boiling are 2 things: the Chariot and consequences. So means to pull things together, it can be rewarding, but it could be consequences. So this is the flavor of this month. So let's go into more details and to see how a month would evolve throughout the different kind of segments. It looks like there is something that did not close in your life. Now you're seeing the world in reverse. In the world here you have the kitty that is observing the world and is really happy with it and proud about it. This way the card usually comes up when you're stuck in a cycle. You might not be with this person anymore. It could be something else. It could be just simply codependency. It could be that your self-esteem is like injured. It could be just the King of Pentacles. You're like kind of like focusing on the wrong things. You're like overindulging. You're treating yourself with gifts and dresses and like perfumes. And you're not really taking care of the inside of you. So this is saying that coupled with Ten of Sky, sorry, Taurus. I'll try to break this to you as soon as possible. Anyway, this is a good news. Like this kitty brings really good luck. So there are good news in this spread, so don't fret. But let me just like remove this because Steffi, let's go, please. Let's Taurus have it. So let me just give me a second to ask her to leave. Just by the way, this is my assistant. She processes the videos. She answers to your email. Her name is Sapphire. Steffi, say hi. Steffi, say hi. You love Taurus? What's going on? You have to say yes. Say yes. Are you a pretty girl? No, she's not talkative, but let me just remove her from the table. Sorry, Taurus. I'll be back in a sec. Okay, I'm glad for Sapphire's visit because usually she brings really luck to the signs, so I'm really glad about it. So again, calling in soulmate. Maybe she thinks she's your soulmate. So let's go back to this world card that I told you. Like there is a cycle that hasn't been finished. So it is calling for you this month to finish the cycle. And it is something related to tormenting thoughts. You have a Ten of Sky. So basically you have a kitty. You feel like you're cornered somewhere on some issue. And it's like very intellectual. It's like there are thoughts that are in your head. And these thoughts are bringing anxiety. And like look at this kitty. It's the end. Like he lost his eye. Poor thing, you know, like it's cornered, and it looks like he's going to lose one of his lives. So it's something that you need to shed, like you need to close. The good news is like both of them are saying it's like you're just about excuse me, you're just about there. It's just about to finish it. And you know it because like really what you want is that big hope. It's a big hope for looking up. It's a big hope for accomplishing better things, from a cat becoming a lion, and sort of like you're seeing potential in you and you're willing to walk through this kind of like discomfort. But please don't lose yourself in overspending and kind of like overeating. This can all kind of like really affect you badly. Then you'll have to spend a month or two working on it. And we know that Taurus is the beauty sign ruled by Venus. And just prepare yourself. Venus is going to retrograde March 1st, and you guys are going to be really affected. So maybe this is the reason for it, because this kind of like is really shaking down our systems, right? So what is your lesson for this month, other than watching overindulgences and like superficiality? You got a card of grace. That's another major arcana. So we have what? 1, 2, 3. 3 major arcanas. So there are going to be some lessons this month, that's for sure. So let's say, you know, 10 days out of 30, you are going to feel deep and profound, and there will be things coming to you. So what is this? Look at this. This kitty is going through water element, right? I told you, like, this is really not your thing. Like, you prefer, like, down-to-earth, grounded things. But this is asking you to go deeper. And it's asking you to not to get disturbed. Look, this kitty is going through the bridge, being splattered left and right with water, and we know how much cats enjoy it. And yeah, this is like one of the most elegant cats, just like Taurus is like one of the most elegant signs. And not allowing this to disturb her. Like her tail is like upright, and she is exhibiting utmost grace, like nothing is affecting her, as if the conditions are not horrible. So this is your lesson, to not to be shaken down. And it's a karmic lesson. It's a big one. So what did you leave in the past? In the past, you have 5 of Sky. and it is reversed. So what do we see here? We see a sky clan. The cats of sky clan are independent creatures. They kind of are outcasts. They were thrown from the other clans, and they realized the need for being stronger, and they kind of like created their own clan. But because they were outcasts, they had to fend for themselves, and they have learned that defensiveness is maybe a way to go. And some of them evolve to being really fair and learning of their experiences. Some of them don't evolve. And here we see uninvolved Sky Clan kitties that kind of like are not really willing to take this complete stranger join them. Why? Because the stranger just seems to be different. So they are more than willing to gang up and bully this poor fellow. So this poor fellow will have to go this time around, but you've got this card in reverse. And now this kind of like base of this 10 of swords or 10 of coming sky. So they're both intellectual cards, meaning these processes are happening in your head, right? So this is good because it was upright. It means like you're all the way on the bottom, so the only way is up. You're going to lose one of your lives, and like here you're going through closure, and so this is saying, really, I will walk through the pain, and I really want to go up. And this is confirming. You feel like you have been bullied, or you feel that somebody made you say or do something that maybe they won, that's why it's this winning card, or you won, but it doesn't feel like winning. It was some bullying, basically. Something happened that was not right. Either you did it to someone or someone did it to you, but in any case, this is something that you brought into the situation, and it could be that somebody did it to you because you obviously have this hope, and hope is kind of looking upward. So the situation is going to sort of like still resolve on a light note. Oops, you have a sea kitten. So all these emotions, all this actually are not emotions, they're more or less intellectual processes. You know, sometimes, and again, this is your obstacle, right? Like, you are earth sign, and I do have an earth here, but here, and I have an earth here, so that's the good news. But you have water, then you have fire, then you have water again here. So it shows that you are getting flavors of the other energies. So what is Sea Kitten doing? Sea Kitten is like exploration. It's like playfulness. It's kind of like emotional kitty that kind of comes to you and snuggles up, but it has kind of mud on his paws, and you still love him no matter what. So you are understanding that all these things, all this turmoil that you tormented yourself with, can stop with just allowing yourself some kind of playfulness. And this is where basically this card is going to start to kind of evolve. Because what also you're feeling, and this is basically where you stand, it's Ace of Sea. So in the traditional card we see a woman blindfolded and bound with swords, but this is so much better. I really love this card. You see the kitty here hearing the shell, and we know that we hear all kinds of like foreign waves, and you hear the sound of ocean, which is so calming. So basically, since you got it reversed, it says, oh well, maybe it is time to move on from the past. This basically, you're just like tired of being. Sorry, actually, this is the card of cups, not sky. So the person walking away. So the person walks away, and you're wondering, like, right, what's going on? But here it's better. Instead of walking away, you're kind of like thinking of the memories of the past, and sort of like getting lost. But since it's inverse, it's about what next. This is again showing the world that is like reverse. So the cycle is going on. You're not able to cut the cord yet. You're going back to it, and it's okay. Go back, finish it, and finish it one for good. And this shows in your environment again we have another ending. So this is 9 of Earth, which is the culmination of the Earth sign. And we see here, like, a kitty enjoying the fruits. And this is kind of literally would be you, that this is what you feel that others expect from you, that you have like this, that you comfort, and, you're always there at your best. You're feeling, very kind of victorious as we seen it there, but somehow you're not able to live this image this month, and this is why this is like so, you know, up in the air for some reason, and there are so many different lessons that you need to do. So what you need to overcome this month, again, it's an emotional thing, because across this line you have this sort of emotions that some of them you are like living on intellectual level, which emotions at least you feel, and you can know right away if they feel right or wrong. With intellect is playing games with you. You don't know what's right, what's not right, because, you know, like, I mean, you feel maybe, oh, the guy looks great, and, you know, he looked great on the paper, and, you know, maybe I can tolerate this. And then your emotions tell you, no, you didn't feel right about it. And yet you're just trying to convince yourself that's right. So this is that intellectual torment. But this is emotional torment here. You basically, oops, just give me a second. This is now on the floor. So this is just purely emotional. So either, you know, you need to overcome feeling of being different, or could have been a third-party situation. Basically, you just have to figure out, again, the ending. Like, are you going to feel comfortable with the situation, or is the situation as big as fear? It's just like sort of saying, stop playing poker with, you know, wet hands. Just, you know, decide who you are, what you're going to go for, what you're not going to go for. Of course, like we all have been there. We want things to work out. We are hoping, and you look at this like baseline, you have this hope. But you know what? This hope is the best when you hope and believe in yourself. Then you just never go wrong. And this hope and calling in soulmate, keep in mind, this is where it is, and you have the grace. So it's not graceful to stay with someone who didn't treat you right. And do not toward whom? Toward you. Do not find any apologies. There is no apologies. Let this person kind of like mature on their own, if that was the case. If this is just a fear of you that, you know, you're somehow afraid of relationships, then deal with that also. Just like set your baseline. Understand that you're going to be hurt. This is how people are. But what is important here is like if you can handle it. Just like that's what you need to do. And ultimately, I guess now we're linking these things together. The world was a start, and it was the Earth King reversed, but now we have the Earth Kitten reversed. So you're going to spend the month grounding yourself, and I think the key would be just like a Sea Kitten. Now you have Earth Kitten over here. Trying to kind of like find the grounds, trying to find this new path. And since you have the Nine of Pentacles here, and this is what somebody expects from you, this is where you strive to go. And you cannot get there until you make this decision, right? Your earthly sign, you have to go back to your earth. And you're trying to get there, and you're going to just get halfway there. And that's possible because of this Venus retrograde, which is like a really difficult transit for you. So nothing to fret. Only thing I would say, keep your grace intact. Do not allow you to be sidetracked, right? Keep walking. Just keep walking step by step. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to move to this different system of divination, this kind of like a gypsy cards. And so what basically we're going to see here, we are going to see situational kind of perspective. This was more kind of like how you feel and what is going on behind the scenes. And here, let's go and see different players on the scene and see if you can recognize yourself. So we have a girlfriend and wife for the people who are couples. We have a young woman, somebody younger, or this could be also somebody's daughter. Then we have a lover. So that could be a guy you're after, or if you're a guy, that could be you. And then we have a lord, also another guy you can be after, or the guy who could be after you. And then we have a sweetheart, and that's going to be quite a few of you over here. So, of course, because this is grand tableau, all the cards are on the table, so there is nothing basically hidden. Like going to be lots of storylines. And I decided to do it this month because there are like quite a few Tauruses on my channel at this stage. And yeah, by the way, thank you for supporting me. Just keep clicking that subscribe. It's helpful. And that's, of course, then I'm kind of like repaying it back by just doing a little bit more. But because it's more of you, there are more energies, and I didn't feel it just like this tarot spread, it will be just enough. So, what basically is happening here is the following. This can actually read the time as well, and it's reading the information. So as I said, I'll tell you a few stories, and it could be one of those stories that is yours, it could be just composite. So let's start. If you are coupled, or if you have children, you have been going through some possible disturbing news that somebody basically took something away from you, to some kind of communication, and you have been a little bit ill recently. But your future is sort of like you're dedicated to kind of improving yourself, and you're dedicated to some kind of service, even though, you know, like, I mean, you feel that there is some kind of wall between you and your basically mate. But please don't fret. It's really not founded wherever you're feeling, because he obviously has the hope. And whatever, if maybe something happened in a relationship and it was because he feels a little bit sad, and he feels that could be just you, that, or it could be vice versa, right? That like he felt it was some kind of falseness and frivolity, and he was not sure how to react, if this is going to be the end. Maybe you called it quits and you felt there is no more fighting for it. Maybe it was another woman that was involved, right? That's why the theft would show. So it could have been the stuff, but like I see the future being cleared, even though here I see this is like widower, which can also mean divorcee and kind of desperation. So I don't know, maybe some of you are going through the breakup on one hand, but the other ones, that their couple are going through the clear, kind of like clear things, and it shows here as well. So it looks like some couples will go this way, others, like, I know this kind of like doesn't sound great, but the couples that are staying strong are going to still dealing with some issues, and the issues are going to be of hope. The issues are going to be, resolved with airing out grievances. And this is really great because, like, right, it's going to be obviously talk about the marriage, and or talk about the relationship, and resolving any jealousy that is basically staying there. Now, this could be your daughter or somebody who is involved, but you know, it could be just a different younger woman that kind of like was there present in the past, who brought some kind of sorrow over here. So that's one storyline. Then what do we have here? For the ladies that are single, we have sweetheart, right? This cute card, and the sweetheart is right next to this basically Lord, and it also felt for you here, and I think this is where these two cards that we had in tarot, like Ten of Swords and Ten of Swords and Five of Swords, or Sky. Hey, no, please, where's the spray bottle? Spray bottle. Please let me not spray you. Please, let's not disturb the reading. Okay, sorry about it. I have obviously a helper. And so where was I? Second storyline was about this lady who kind of, you had somebody in the past, and like you have an enemy and you have an enemy, and it was like some death of love death, communicated through kind of like not really nice way, or you know, weirdly enough, kind of you didn't really get affected by that too much, because you kind of like still focused on wrong things. And maybe it could be that he felt that you were too superficial. Maybe you were too superficial, because somehow that decision left you feeling, I'm just fine with it, you know. But he kind of, or if you are a guy Taurus here, is going to try through the friend kind of like come back to some kind of loyalty or to start something new. So you might be hearing from him, and whatever it is, like, I mean, if I were you, I would ask for explanation, because it was obviously indecisiveness. There were things, maybe even three-party on his end, and messing up with your sense of, being grounded, being at home. You, on the other hand, you really are devoted and dedicated this month, which we can see from these tarot cards, to have constancy and to kind of like fight for yourself. You're literally improving yourself, just like this basically coupled woman. And there might be some kind of jealousy going on, or you might be dealing with somebody else's jealousy, or somebody's jealous of you about things that you want to accomplish or you're striving for, because like you have in your future wedding and conversations. Or it could be just some of you simply are going to kind of start this trip toward, getting hitched, because over here you also have reunion. So it could be that you'll be revisiting this relationship, and now it's going to be 2.0, because now you have also money card here, which kind of does come to conversation when there is discussion about a marriage, but still not there yet, because you still need to overcome all these bad feelings, because you're not supposed to, again, play this with wet hands. Just like make sure he's the right one. So then we have this lover boy here, who basically somehow again he got in some kind of boo-boo, because he did fight and he was loyal. And this is the guy who actually is really nice, who kind of like been through also grinder. He did want to have reunion in the past. He did, however, left somebody brokenhearted, or somebody left him and is brokenhearted, and he is now wondering what basically happened. Why did he fight for? Why is he feeling this way? Are people real or not real? He's going through sorrow, and yet he's still somehow having a hope that things will open up and it's going to be a conversation, and it's still going to be time for good times. And on the other hand, he's feeling really blocked, and he's feeling a little bit of desperate. So the young lady also is looking up, and she's going also through the emotions from, okay, who is the guy I want to fight for? Who's not going to make me sad? Who's going to give me this solid ground? Because you're Taurus, like in every storyline, it looks like money and earthly pleasures are important. So I guess you're getting there. You just like you need to have it, this way. And it looks like also that every single system was saying that you somehow expected to keep your act together. So this card was just confirmed in this reading right now, and this hope, because absolutely every single player, guy or man or woman, and all you women looking for this guy and understanding, I mean, the story is hopeful. And it's very grounded. Like, you're not taking this as some kind of like big elaborate stork story, or live happily after. You're kind of like negotiating your terms. You're understanding that people have ups and downs and going on with that. So lastly, what I will do, we are going to use Lenormand spread, and this is all looked up right. I just have to find a lady and gentleman in the spread. So what's going to happen here, you are going to, ladies, be a lady. So you're going to see what basically is going to be the immediate for you to look. And it's going to be, you're going to see what the guy's going to look for in this month. So this is a lady, and this is a gentleman. So let me just fast forward to it so you don't have to wait through the shuffle. Okay, I'm back. Let me just preface this, that these cards do look like tarot cards, because I got this version, pixie version, but they actually don't mean the same thing. So when you see star and moon, they don't have the same meaning. Just don't think I'm interpreting them wrongly. So what's happening here? Ladies, you kind of like feel that you're either foxy, that you want to, like, I mean, get the better of someone, or you feel you're outfoxed and you feel like somebody cheated on you, because this will be this card, Three of Sky, where the third party was not necessarily invited by you. And it was something that was really serious, because I see the ring here. You wanted some kind of commitment, and you were really looking up to it and expecting the messages, or something to be arranged. However, this whole thing got clouded, and there were some kind of sharp words which kind of brought you to some kind of crossroads. And we've seen it in all this kind of readings, that there was some issue to deal with, and it was the issue that is still under question. There is like a closed book, which means the secrets are still in the book. It has to be opened and revealed. And that's where you stand this whole thing. The moon means reputation, and we had the reputation in your tarot card as well, so this is repeating. And we definitely see this hope, right? The star is here as well, even though it doesn't mean the same. These two things will be hopeful in your love life. And again, we have this calling in your soulmate. So your soulmate has to come where you need to get this full ground of yourself. So if this is the guy you're looking for, let's see what this guy's gone through. So the gentleman is absolutely, he wants to deal with you. Absolutely, he wants to do it. And there is like, communication. He's flirty. He's trying to seduce you. But at the same time, it could be too playful. This can mean betrayal. On the other hand, he's trying to be kind of like showing you how great guy he's going to be for you with surprises and bringing you kind of like flowers. But the consistency is not there. Mice means it's eroding something, and it's like nibbling on something. They're not biggies. They're small things, but enough to kind of like make you feel, is this the real thing or it's not the real thing? It's like kind of like that's this clouded thing where you're kind of putting things under question. And that's his cross to bear. He needs to clean his act in order for him to start new, because like his ending is great. The Key is the best card in Lenormand deck, and the Child means something new, and I don't know, or this can actually also means literally a child, because you have a stork and a child. That is sort of like he's thinking about it. If you guys are pregnant, then this guy has no doubts about that he wants to be with you, but he has the doubts if he can be a good provider, and if really he got more than he bargained for. But in the end, he kind of like wants to do it, and yet something will happen to prevent that. So it might be you guys that are just going to put a stop to it. This is currently what I'm seeing it as a stop. And I think this is related to you feeling that you don't have the truth, nothing but the truth and the whole truth over here. So I told you in the beginning I'm going to be real with you. And this was not the nicest reading, in fact, but it's nothing else. It was warning that people will be coming to you. There'll be issues, especially during Venus retrograde, which is like starting in March, but as of February 26th, you're going to start feeling it. You guys, again, you have the reputation, the moon, and the reputations you had over here. You have hopes on both ends. So all these basically cards were saying to me the same thing. You have to get prepared, and it's time for you to work on yourself, because you are ready to get the soulmate. You do want to get married, so you need to fix you to be ready to get that soulmate in. And this month is forcing you to this labor. So if somebody comes back to you, and it was a reunion for some of you, it was the guy who actually has this inclination, just make sure he kind of like understands that this is commitment, that this is not some wishy-washy thing where he can just play around. Sort of like put your foot down and say and speak out your truths and what you want. You see, these are sharp words over here. Ladies, you have to speak it out. And all these things that are not clear, that is like in the clouds, you need to clear it. That's going to help him and you want to get information known so you can actually decide which road to take. You really don't want any secrecy, and you don't want to fill out fox, nor do you want to actually relationship where you have to continuously play with somebody, trying to get a better view are just not productive. Why to even waste time? So again, get yourself grounded. Um, Leave the past in the past, but only after you learn from the past that what was the lesson. So this world reversed is basically making complete sense right now, meaning, these are the things you deal with, and let's clean them and clear them this month. Most of them you're going to accomplish, but there are going to be still some leftover work after March the 20th. So next month more about it. So please come also to your weeklies just to see sort of variations throughout 4 weeks. And that kind of like you can focus to certain things that time. Sorry, Taurus, for not being a better read, but you know what? It's still good to be prepared. Just make sure, remember one thing, if you can remember one thing from this reading, is just stay true to yourselves. And that's the most important thing, because everything else is going to work from there. Thank you very much. I do love you, and I really hope, things are as painless as possible this month.